Hey guys, it's Tyson here at Swivl, and in this short video, I'm going to walk you through how to set your margins and calculate your costs inside the platform, and more importantly, how to use that information to price your jobs the right way. Let's take a look. Now, I'd like to show you something that most home service companies get wrong, and it costs them a lot of money. Most people think that they have a pricing strategy, but they don't actually know their true job costs. And if you don't know your costs, then you don't know your margins. And that's where profit disappears. In field service, there are typically two ways to price a job: flat rate pricing, where you charge a fixed predetermined price for a job, and cost plus pricing, where you calculate the total cost of a job, then add a predetermined markup. Now, either strategy can work, but no matter which one you use, you need to understand your costs. Both can only work if your costing is accurate. And here's the key: even if you're using flat rate pricing, you should still be estimating your costs. A lot of companies skip that step, and that's where things get dangerous. This is exactly where Swivl comes in. Swivl is designed to empower owners to know their costs so they can build a real pricing strategy and not just guess. Most companies try to figure this out after the job is done. They're pulling time cards, entering receipts, trying to piece together material invoices. And most of the time, they're not even tracking things like vehicle costs or equipment usage. So what happens? They either guess or they just never really know. And by the time they figure it out, it's too late to fix the margin. Inside Swivl, one of the most important tools you have is your default cost markups. This is where you define your target margins across different types of costs. From your Swivl account dashboard, scroll down to Price Book and then click on Default Cost Markups. You'll see we break your costs into 6 categories: vehicle, labor, material, equipment, subcontractor, and other. And the reason we do that is simple. Different costs should have different markups. For example, you might mark up materials differently than labor, or subcontractor work differently than equipment. All you have to do is go into each category and set your markup percentage based on your strategy. Labor is captured automatically when your tech clocks in and out on the mobile app. This is tied to GPS and actual job activity, so you're not relying on handwritten time cards. You're getting real, accurate labor costs as the job happens. Vehicle cost is another one most people miss. From your dashboard, click on Inventory and then Asset Setup to add your vehicle. Swivl tracks the actual miles driven to and from the job, and it calculates fuel, maintenance, and depreciation automatically. So now your vehicle is treated as a true job cost and not hidden overhead. The same thing goes for equipment. You assign equipment to the job, and Swivl calculates costs based on hourly usage. So over time, you're actually recovering the costs of owning that equipment. For materials, you can enter them manually, but this is really where AI saves time. You can upload a receipt or take a picture, and Swivl extracts the items, logs the costs, and stores those materials for future estimates. If you're using subcontractors, they're tied directly into the job. They can upload invoices and job photos right into the system, and that cost is automatically applied to the job, so there's no chasing any paperwork. Now, this is where most people make a big mistake. They take all these costs, add them together, and apply one markup. But that just doesn't work because different costs should have different margins. Labor might be 100%, materials might be 30 to 40%, equipment could be much higher, and subs might be between 10 and 50%. Vehicles are usually a lower margin. So if your job is heavy on labor versus materials, your pricing should change accordingly. That's how you protect your margins. So when you're building an estimate in Swivl, you can either use the AI estimator to generate your scope and materials, and you can use your experience and knowledge to tweak it to perfection. And as you do so, you're actually training your AI to make these adjustments to future AI estimates. Or you can build it manually based on labor, trips, materials, equipment, and subs. As you add these costs, Swivl automatically applies your margin settings and builds your price. All right, now that the job is completed, this is where things get really valuable. This is where you can go back and see how your estimate actually compared to what really happened on the job. To do that, head over to your report section and open up your jobs report. The jobs report section provides users with a comprehensive view of the final reports for jobs created in the work order management section. This section helps users track job performance, analyze costs, and review job details efficiently. Once the job is complete, You can compare estimated costs versus actual costs, and this is where it gets really powerful. If Swivl sees patterns, like labor being consistently underestimated, it will start improving future estimates based on real data. If you haven't already, take a few minutes to review your default cost markups and make sure they align with your strategy. Because once that's dialed in, everything else, your estimates, your pricing, and your profitability starts to fall into place. At the end of the day, when you know your true costs, you stop guessing your margins, you start making better pricing decisions, and you start to build a more profitable business.